Welcome to New Hampshire Politics with John Burt. I am John Burt. I want to thank you for joining me today, and today I have a great guest and a very dear friend of mine, and it's Copp, and she's down in Derry.
Yep.
Ann, thank you for coming on. I very much
John.
appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
You know, I've always enjoyed serving with you up to the State House. You did excellent as a representative. You know, I especially liked your spunk.
You like the woodshed?
Yes. Yeah, you've gone up to the House floor and said that a few times.
I have, yeah.
Yes.
I'd like Republicans, when they're running as Republicans, to be Republicans. In name only doesn't cut it. So.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yes. And now you are running in Derry.
Yes.
But on the Libertarian ticket.
Yes. Actually, I was invited onto the ballot, the Libertarian ballot, and I was told I'm really a Libertarian because of my free speech issues, my really outspoken on citizen rights.
Yeah.
And they said, you should take the test. And I said, what test are you talking about? So I took the test. I'm 100% Libertarian. The party in my town has become more progressive and establishment type, so it moved away from my liberty-minded candidacy, which I feel very strongly about. The people, our job is to represent the folks.
Absolutely.
My citizenry in my town should have a voice in their government, so that's why.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree. You know, I got a dear friend, Mark Warden, and he gave me the test, and I came in at like 95 or something. I'm like,
it's amazing.
You know, but I've always, I was born and raised a Republican, and
and
I said, no, Mark, I'm still a Republican. He goes, John, I'm telling you, you're denial.
I go by the Ronald Reagan rule of 80-20, and we serve with some Libertarians in the House that are running as Republicans because they don't have whatever wherewithal, or they don't have the support. So I'm here to kind of support them and go into the House again and finish the work I started, especially on the energy project that I worked on that for 3 years. So it'd be nice to finish that up for the whole state. You know, so everyone benefits.
Yes, yeah, no, that would be good. And now there's the House Republican Alliance, and they rate us, and that's more on the platform, you know, conservativeness, you know, the Ronald Reagan kind of platform.
Right.
You know, how did you fare on that?
95% score. Although I'm not a big person on scores, I just do what I think is right.
Yes.
And I vote when I read the bill, and I do read the bill. I decide, you know, and I filter it through my core and say this is the right thing to do. And it just happens I come out on 95% for the HRA. If there was a Liberty Alliance for Libertarians, it'd probably be 100%, because I'm really staunchly in support of not only our Constitution and our amendments, all of them. I also think that this House is the people's house. So it's so important to represent your constituency. Once again, I say that, and it's a liberty issue because I think people are losing their freedoms, their liberties, and they're handing it over. And in my town in particular, I found that free speech is not easy to come by, and I want to change that.
Yeah, well, and the sad thing is they're taking it one little piece, and everybody's like, it's just a little.
Yeah.
Well, over 20 years, it's a lot.
Look where we are. Look where we are.
Yeah.
And I do hear a lot about the taxes, you know, them taking money out of your right pocket, saying, oh, it's okay, it's for you, it's for this, it's for that. And by the way, a government mandate, we're going to have this from the federal government. And I'm like, watch out for the federal government because there are strings attached.
Oh, yeah.
And what pocket does that money come out of? It comes out of your left pocket.
Yes.
So it's really coming out of the citizen, both sides, and people don't seem to realize that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you're a huge supporter of the BET tax, not for the tax.
No.
But to, yes, I want to make sure that that's in the BP, what's the other one?
Business profits tax and business enterprise tax.
Yes, I always forget. I don't know why they mess me up.
It's difficult.
You know, I'm a huge supporter in cutting them.
Yes.
You know, and really, there's one that should be just wiped out.
Right. It's to fuel business. It's to help business. In the state of New Hampshire, the governor said he wanted to bring 100 companies in 100 days. Now, how do you do that if you have all these regulations on business?
Yeah.
It costs them money, and if they want a better deal, Connecticut or Vermont, they're going to leave us.
Yes.
We don't want that. We want them to generate good income, good jobs for our people that live here, and also be able to stay here and be a business-friendly environment, which New Hampshire is.
Yes.
And I'll have to tell you about a project of mine. I mentioned the energy project. This company from Utah, I had really encouraged them to come to New Hampshire and look in New England and use New Hampshire as their first, in the primary state, their first in energy for here.
Wow.
And they're considering coming, and they've already made some stakes here. Wow. So I'm happy to help the governor get that, at least one company here.
Yes, yeah. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah?
Yeah. No, I can't wait to get that going. You know, I think that's that's going to be huge.
Clean, renewable energy, and it's green, and it's going to be so exciting. And we're looking at beginning of Q1, so the spring of 2019, which is right around the corner.
Wow.
After the holidays, it's going to be, the spring will be back again, believe me.
Yes.
Right now it doesn't feel like it, but it'll be on its way.
And now you mentioned once while we were talking before the show about the UNH and the 162 million.
Yeah,
what's your thought on that?
That was a huge thing for me. Once again, you remember the Freedom Caucus, which there were a lot of libertarians in that, and conservative, fiscal conservative Republicans. And we held the former speaker's feet to the fire on the budget. In 2017, if you can imagine, we have 1.5 million people in the state of New Hampshire. They're asking for a $12 billion budget with the B. So we had to say, wait a minute, did you do line item vetoes? Did you look at this agency and ask them what they really need to function? Now, that's where the business enterprise tax came in, and we were able to reduce that, and the business profits tax. But in addition to that, the $162 million that we're giving in this biennium to UNH didn't seem fair, because the other university systems get about 10 or 12, and I didn't understand the difference. So I asked the speaker, who actually sat on the board of UNH, quite coincidentally, if we could have an audit and have an accountability of those funds to the taxpayers. Of course, that was not met with much. That was very untoward, but I still, like a bulldog on a pork chop, when it comes to taxes, I wanted the answer to the question so I could bring it back to my constituency. And that was never answered, but that will be another question. I'll come back in the House and ask that again and again and again. And as far as the budget, we didn't pass the budget in 2017 because the legislature are the ones that hold the purse strings. And if we can't pass a budget, we had to kind of acquiesce to the Senate. Then we had a cadre. You were part of that. You were helping try to bring that percentage down from 9% to 4.5 or something reasonable. And the Senate actually worked with us. That's how we got the business enterprise tax and business profits tax actually reduced. But the House didn't help, and a lot of the reps were offended because 60 of us were told that our amendments were non-germane. And that's a bad thing to tell your reps. So I stand up and fight even in the House, not even just in Derry, but in the House too.
Well, I know on the business tax, we lowered it prior to that a quarter of a percent, and I can't remember the number, but it was hundreds of millions of dollars extra came in when we lowered it just a quarter%.
That's right. And like you said, eliminating it would do gangbusters. It would really help a lot. I mean, the companies are already paying high rates for electricity. And if you've got a manufacturing facility, you want it to run 24 hours, 3 8-hour shifts, they can't afford to keep the lights on the second and third shift. So there's no such thing. In New Hampshire, you're lucky if you have a one-shift operation in manufacturing. And what our company wants to do is provide that energy at a lower cost so that it's not we're providing the jobs, we're allowing other manufacturing companies to come and provide the massive jobs.
Yes, and I think it's the business profit tax. It only brings in like $25–30 million. So why don't we get rid of it?
No kidding. Well, we are on the right side with that, John, and I say right, and I mean it.
So we have to. Now, there is people talking about the dairy delegation, you know, if you want to elaborate a little bit on that, what's happening in there.
I think it's unfortunate. For me, I started out as a write-in campaign in town. I'm getting married, so when I came to town, I was a write-in candidate, and some people frowned upon that and said, you shouldn't run until 2020, and I said, excuse me? Okay, I take your advice under advisement, but that's not what I'm going to do. So I ran. And what happened was, I think the delegation that was already in place felt threatened. It's a friendly competition. If you're running a write-in campaign, you could potentially bump someone off the ballot. Not my intention, but I would like to see more fiscally responsible, liberty-minded candidates run and get elected instead of having status quo candidates that are actually go along to get along candidates. When they're in the House, we've been told several times we have the corner office and the governor, we have executive council, we have a full House, and we have the Senate are all majority. We don't have a majority in the House because they're not voting like what they say they are. So I always say, and when I brought up the speaker and asking if I politely could invite people to the woodshed so the speaker could speak to them about such things, like not voting with us 35% of the time, that's the vote we get from them. So we don't really have a majority in the House. Running a good constitutional conservative campaign like I'm doing, and like my fellow peers, half of the ballot in Derry are constitutional conservatives, fiscal conservatives, true Republicans, and I'm the libertarian now, but that's because of what happened. I do think that they're going to do really well. And the people get to choose, so it's up to them who they vote for. Just don't vote for a status quo candidate, and don't just vote down the ballot and fill all the boxes. You want to vote for people you know, and don't vote for more than 10 in Derry. 10 is the max for Derry, so even if you include me, only do 4 or 5 of the other. You can't go over that number or you invalidate your ballot.
Yes, that will wipe out. So on the representatives, there's the Libertarians, Republicans, and Democrats. Right. If they go 11, they're done.
They're done. They've invalidated their whole representative ballot. They still get governor and the other people they voted for.
No more for all.
No more, right.
Yep.
And all representatives, a total of 10.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's good to know.
Yeah. It does say it on the ballot. People are nervous when they go in the ballot box, but just read the little, it's like a primer on top. Just read what it says, take a moment, make sure you fill in your ovals clearly so that they're not called scatter. Sometimes when the Secretary of State has to read your ballot, if it's unreadable, they call it scatter and they'll toss it out. And you don't want them to do that.
Okay, yes, yeah, you don't. And now you have a website, or you're on a website.
Right.
I guess all of us are.
It's the Citizens Count website.
Yeah. What's that about?
It's really awesome because any candidate, you can be Democrat, Republican, Libertarians on there. I'm on there. So it's the www.lfdr.org/candidate/ in my case, ANNE Copp, COPP, and I'm that candidate. But if you just take my name away and put another candidate's name there, their record will be there. So you get to really be an informed voter, and I really thank the Citizens Count a lot for that because it's so helpful. In my campaign's a self-funded campaign, so I don't have the money to put up a website or get glossy cards. This is my campaign literature.
Yeah, and I like that.
And I'll tell you, some people are a little offended because they come out of the store and it's on their windshield, and it's like, hey, it's public service announcement.
Yes, yeah, you can do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know, regardless of where you are politically, I mean, you're not going to change.
My votes are the same. I'm still a zebra on this. The stripes are not moving.
Yes.
And I know the Libertarian Party's happy to have my very conservative vote, very libertarian-minded, very self-reliant, self-governing. You know, you don't want a lot of government. You want to make it smaller and get people out of your life, your private life.
Absolutely.
The government's very intrusive, and that's where I think on the test I came out so high on their test because that's how I thought my Republican Party was. But they're moving away from that. They're trying to be more democratic light, and when you do that, you don't define yourself and your ideas from the opposite of you.
Yes.
If you try to play nice and say I'm the same as you, why would any voter vote for a different person? They'd vote for the same old because they're not going to get anything different.
That's right.
And I think establishment candidates, people that go along to get along, are not the guys you want to put your faith in to fight for you for your taxes, the business enterprise tax, business profits, or questioning even UNH's $162 million. I still haven't gotten the audit reply back. I asked the board member, which is the former speaker, to get that to us in the end of session. They never got to us, but like a bulldog on the pork chop I mentioned, I'm still going to ask for that because it's very important. UNH's tuition has gone up.
Oh, yeah.
How can that be when they just got $162 million from the state? It's not from the state. They didn't get it from the state house. They got it from your house. They got it from your pockets.
Yes.
And that's not right. If you've got kids going to UNH, you're paying 2-3 times. That's triple dipping.
Yes.
That's wrong.
Yeah. Well, they're paying professors over there a lot to teach an hour class.
Indoctrinate our kids. I didn't say that, did I?
Yes. Yeah, no, we need more liberty people in colleges. Yeah. I don't know how you would do that, but
I think more support for their ideas and get more candidates to come out. I know for a fact that we talk about independence is 30-30-30. We got 30 Democrats, we got 30 Republicans, and the middle is independents, and they're the ones that decide an election.
Yes.
If they're not happy with you, they float in between both parties with good reason. Yeah. If I could have years ago, I feel like I'm an independent because I don't like the way sometimes the establishment party was going. They weren't representing me. And many times in the State House, you saw people clapping like seals for certain things. And I'd sit there and shake my head and say, no, that's outrageous.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm just a mom, just someone that's, come to the State House, freshman rep, and the things I saw really were eye-openers.
Yeah, it is. Now we're at the end, and if you want to, talk to the voters and just tell them why they should vote for you, please
well,
do.
I am working very hard, and it's a self-funded campaign, and you've seen my signs around, the pink and black Copp with Liberty riders on top. That's to help people understand that I'm on the Libertarian ballot now, but I'm still the same candidate, and it's important that you know when you vote where the places are for the candidates. You'll see them on the Republican side, the people in Derry, and it's Rockingham County, District 6 for Derry. So if you live in my district, I really would like to earn your vote, and I hope to see you on November 6th, which is Tuesday. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on, Ann, and I hope I see you up there because I just love the way you vote.
Well, if I don't make it, you're there, so that's good. I'm glad about that.
Well, if the voters tell me yes.
Excellent.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Take care now. Bye now.